to come a significant point in time within like the next 8 hours where you're going to be inundated with a bunch of people giving you takes about this kid and him losing his life in the way that he did. And there's going to be people drastically desperate to try to tell you that you should not be making this about race, that you shouldn't be making this about race, or why are you trying to make it about race? And the thing that's interesting about those people specifically is that given the circumstances that fit their criteria, they will make their situation about race. And might I just add that the only thing racial about this is that the victim's white and the dude who killed him is black. That is it. Nobody was hunching over the other one because of skin color that we know of. Nobody targeted anybody based off of skin color. Nobody sought the other person over skin color. But the thing about the people that's going to fight tooth and nail to say this has nothing to do with race, they will be there in any other scenario where a black person gets killed by a white person and tells you, man, I'm tired of living in this racist country. I'm tired of telling you about this racist thing. I'm tired of living in this. So what I'm going to need people to understand, or at least do with this, is very simple. Look at this obvious tragedy of a kid losing his life at the hands of another kid and say, may this one rest in peace and may the one who killed him rest in a jail cell. Because let's be real, that's how this should go. Never in your life should you doubt me again, because it don't matter the rain, the snow, the sleet, or the shine. People will always come through to disappoint you when you expect a little bit of humanity and a little bit of decency. I'm certain by now a few people have heard of the name Austin Metcalf, a teenager no longer on this earth after having an interaction and an altercation with a man, not a man, but a teenager also known as Carmelo Anthony. Not that one. And we've all by now seen a bunch of people's reactions, but I want you to pause your opinions or your thoughts on the reactions, and I want you to listen to the father of Austin Metcalf.
I want to clarify something right off the start, because I've already heard some rumors and some gossip. This was not a race thing, and this is not a political thing. Please do not comment if you do not know what happened. Do not turn this into a racial thing. It was not. Do not politicize this. It's not. This is a human being thing. This person made a bad choice, and it affected both his family and my family forever.
History has a funny way of making us think that we haven't seen something before, or getting us to think that this is the first time we've ever seen something like this. And I would just like to say this moment is correct, because I don't think I've ever seen a scenario where a father finds out that he loses his child, and he finds out the person who killed his child, and he gets on national TV and begs that this does not get turned into a political issue. This does not get turned into a race issue. This did not get turned into something else other than what it is, hoping for justice for his son, finding out all the information as to what happened in this altercation and going from there. And the rest of the world just said, fuck you, we gonna do what we want.
Will anybody in the sports media world talk about this? Will any of the Cowboys treat Austin Metcalf the way the Cowboys treated George Floyd, taking a knee all over the place? What's more of a tragedy? George Floyd overdosing on fentanyl under the knee of Derek Chauvin, or this 17-year-old boy, honor roll student, devout Christian, stabbed in the heart at a track meet? But no one's outraged. No, that's a misnomer. People are outraged. But these idolatrous are these idols that have been installed in our culture. Let's see if they have a word to say about this. I don't think they will, because we've seen this before. Do you remember the shows I was doing a year and a half ago about the kid Ethan Liming? The 17-year-old, I believe, high school football player in Akron, Ohio, who got beaten up and killed in the parking lot of LeBron James's I Promise school? Everybody goes deathly silent. When the white kid with the promising future gets killed by young black men.
And I will tell you this as plainly as possible. I don't want to live around black people. I just don't. It would be irresponsible if I had a wife and kids to live near black people. It just would be. And that's not to say that every black person is violent. It's not to say that every black person is the same way. But we watch the news. We read the papers. When you drive downtown in Chicago, you know who you got to look out for and worry about when you're thinking about whether you're going to get carjacked, when you're worried about catching a stray bullet, when you're worried about who's going to pull up on the side of the road and literally shove a rifle in your face and steal your iPhone or shoot you point blank, execution style, in Lincoln Park. We know who's doing it. I don't want to live near them. I don't want to be near them. They make me nervous. That's a survival instinct. And the way this story unfolded, it's sort of interesting. Apparently, this white student, this Austin Metcalf, confronted a friend of the killer, presumably black also, and said something like, hey, you're sitting in the wrong spot. You're in my spot, something like this. And that's when the black guy jumped in and stabbed him to death. Unfortunately, we just don't know. When you're on the subway, when you're driving in your car, when you're in the city streets, you don't know whether the black person in proximity to you is one of the good ones or one of the ones who is going to summon an unbelievable, I mean, literally, for people like us, an unthinkable level of spontaneous brutality, senseless and merciless violence in an instant. We don't know. There's ambiguity. You're sitting on a subway. You look across. You see someone acting strange or aggressive. Is this someone who is going to pull out a knife and in 2 seconds slit my throat and kill me? Or is this just someone who's having a bad day? We don't know. I'm not willing to risk my life to find out. It's not worth it to me. I'm not willing to put myself in a position to find out.
What if the roles were reversed? He'd probably get a slap on the wrist. Historically, the roles have been reversed. For a very long time. And very rarely is justice served. Hence, the outcry and protests. For all of history, white men have been killing black men and getting let go, defended, or praised. But a black guy kills a white guy, and he's then arrested for it. He's going to trial for murder, and you still want to talk about his race? Someone stabbed someone else, and that person died. Terrible situation. Super, super sad. It shouldn't have happened. But if race isn't a part of the crime, why does race have to be part of the discussion at all? Like, it has nothing to do... It's almost like you guys are fantasizing about the white guy killing the black guy instead. Why is that always the first place your mind goes? The roles being reversed. Look at history. They have been.
Some white people want to be oppressed so bad. Let's talk about it. There's a young man named Austin Metcalf, 17 years old, just recently got unalived at a track meet by a young man named Carmelo Anthony. Absolutely no relation to the basketball player. And there are brain-dead napkin Americans, enemies of the sun, with the caucasity to say, oh, where's the national outrage? Oh, he died in his twin brother's arm. This is such a tragedy. Oh, where are the marches? Oh, where are the protests? Oh, we're not burning down cities. The young man was caught immediately. And I'm sure he's going to face the swift hand of justice. But y'all want to take part in the oppression that you all created so bad that you will break your measly arm reaching for a situation that's not even analogous to the BS point that you're trying to make. And most of you are not even saying the young man's name. To the family of Austin Metcalf, I hope you get the peace that you deserve and the justice that you so rightfully deserve.
And you could even throw me in that mix, because look at the title of the video. Look at what I've just shown you. It is made into a racial thing. Why? Because no matter how people want to spin it, it's always going to be a racial thing when it's a black person and a white person. You have the one side sitting here saying, well, why are you always making things about race? Making it about race, and even chastising the father for hoping that people don't make it about race, asking to not make it about race. And then you got the other side who constantly tells you that if you breathe on a black person the wrong way, it's somehow racist and you should be ashamed of yourself for your white supremacy, saying, hold on, why are we making it about race and we don't have all the context to this scenario, knowing full well if the roles were reversed, all of these sides would be on the opposite spectrum saying different things or the same things based on who's the victim and who's the perpetrator. It's this funny game where nobody knows full details and we all just jumping through hoops, spitting narratives. Why? Because we bored it. We want traction on social media. I'm seeing fanatical stories about the whole thing transpiring to the point where the police in the area gotta say, hold on, calm it down. Y'all doing a little bit too much. And that should be the red flag for everybody to shut up and just wait, which for some reason, because every time I've said this, I get people mad at me, the most controversial take. When you don't know anything, when you just see it circulating on social media, you got nothing but witness testimonies and one account from the brother of Austin Metcalf. You don't really know too much. So it's best to just sit back and wait. Why? Because if you give your little fanatical take and then it turns out that you're wrong, you have egg on your face and you're going to try any way under the sun to scapegoat, goalpost move, and move on to the next thing, because accountability for your stupid take means absolutely nothing. Maybe there's some camera footage of somebody recording all of the field and maybe we could see a little bit of the interaction from a distance. Maybe we could see who swung first. Maybe we could see who started the altercation. Maybe we could see who swung first. Yes, it is weird. Somebody brought a knife to a track field. That lets me know that given a circumstance, they was willing, ready, and able to do anything in regards to what was going on with their body. It doesn't help the people who want to defend Carmelo that apparently, as of me recording this, it's being said that when he was detained and questioned by the cops, he was saying, it's not alleged, I did it. There's people saying it was over a girl, it was over a phone, it was over a seat. And the whole time I'm just sitting here waiting, thinking, when is everybody gonna shut the fuck up and just wait to find out how it played out?
The UFAA has obtained new court documents revealing how Austin Metcalf was stabbed to death at a track meet in Frisco. Police say another teenager had fresh blood on his finger when they found him at Kirkendall Stadium.
The affidavit shows that when officers arrived, Carmelo Anthony told them he got into an argument with Metcalf, and when the arresting officer said he had the alleged suspect in custody, Anthony replied, "I'm not alleged, I did it."
But Anthony told officers he only acted in self-defense and asked them if Metcalf was okay.
Several witnesses paint a different picture, and Metcalf's father told Matt Howerton he is not buying the excuse.
I had a dream last night, and Austin came to me and said, I'm okay. It gives me peace. Doesn't mean I don't hurt.
The last 24 hours, unimaginable for Austin Metcalf's father, his mother, his twin brother.
Right now, I'm really numb, and I really don't feel anything. I just have to function.
Metcalf, just 17 when he arrived at Frisco ISD's district track meet Wednesday. His final breaths taken before 11 a.m., police say, after being stabbed to death by a fellow Frisco ISD student, 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony, now charged with first-degree murder.
My world's a little shattered.
An argument over where Anthony was sitting while the meet experienced a rain delay sparked a confrontation between the teen and Metcalf. According to arrest paperwork, Anthony sitting underneath Metcalf's team tent. You could see it from the air when we flew over the crime scene. Metcalf from Memorial High, Anthony from Centennial. A witness telling police Metcalf told Anthony to move from under the team's tent because he didn't go to their school. The witness telling police Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside and proceeded to tell Austin, "Touch me and see what happens." Investigators writing that Metcalf grabbed Anthony to tell him to move and that Anthony pulled out a black knife and stabbed Austin once in the chest and then ran away. When officers arrived, the knife was found and police say Anthony admitted to what happened, but said this to police: He put his hands on me. I was protecting myself, even asking another officer if what happened could be considered self-defense.
What do you expect? If you're caught, the best thing you're gonna do is try to lie your way out of it.
Metcalf's father telling me self-defense is not a reasonable excuse.
The truth will come out. There were too many people that were there that saw what happened. My own son told me.
You're gonna get witness testimony. You're gonna get statements from all the people who were there. You could just shut the fuck up and wait, but no, it's narrative time. It's time to start talking about how black people gotta defend themselves. It's time to start talking about how black people are so violent and criminal. It's time to start countering that by saying, hey, white people shoot up schools. It's time to counter that by bringing up, for some fucking reason, mass shooting statistics in a situation that involves a fucking knife. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, damn, I feel bad for that dad who got on national TV and said, hey, can y'all not do this? And the world just said, fuck no, because what matters to everyone who isn't affected by this is their own narrative instead of, a dead kid and a kid who's in jail. Because, yeah, while that's cool and interesting, people have seen that already. What they want is their interactions on social media. What they want is people looking at them as the intrinsic journalist who figured it all out by reading some random shit on Facebook, thinking that that is the smoking gun that will help in a court case. Speaking of which, I saw somebody talking about how if you bring up who was seated where, that really doesn't matter in the court of law. And I'm just sitting here thinking, do we not know how court works and how motherfuckers have to start asking questions to figure out how shit played out in a way that led to somebody dying? Anything revolving what went on in that general area will be figured out in court. Whatever goes on in that section at that time will be addressed, from the time of day to how a motherfucker was breathing. That will be brought up. Why? Because you're going to want to seek judgment and punishment for the death of somebody. And if you're not bringing up every minute detail, then we wasted everybody's fucking time. And the sick part is, no matter the outcome, there's still going to be a less of a focus on a family potentially getting justice or somebody being able to walk scot-free on self-defense, because motherfuckers are going to have their think pieces about how this is kangaroo court, this is an absurdity of justice, because we fixate more on the outcome and the racial aspect more than the actual situation. A kid's dead, and nobody, except for the people who were right there at that moment, have full understanding. Fuck, you can't even say that, because again, the brother was sitting there saying, oh, I didn't really see how it all transpired. I just know that somebody said move, somebody said make me move, somebody said do this, somebody said do that. So we really don't have full account of anything, but we gotta hope for a resolution. And that is what I wish we could have did as a society. But because history has a way of disappointing us no matter what. And I'm going to end the video like this. For anybody who's sitting there saying, we are too much of divisive. We have all this division. We have all these people mad at each other. We have this, we have that, we have this, we have that. No matter what, a scenario where a black person and a white person have an altercation, it is always going to be racial. Why? Because of history, because of the people on social media who like to grandstand with their stereotypes and narratives, with all the people who are dedicated to making it about race. It is always going to be there, whether you like it or not, whether you are a fan of racism or not, whether if you want to end racism or not, it's always gonna fucking be there. And it's really disappointing that on national TV, a father had to beg for it to not happen, and the world just said, fuck no. Why? Because that's the world we live in. No matter how much you want to close your eyes and ears and try to pin it on the next person, yeah, that's the fucking world we live in, where some shit ends up being racial. Whether if the black person was the victim or the perpetrator, whether the white person was the victim or the perpetrator, it's always going to be about race. And that's the shitty part, where we could see something and we could all collectively in our minds say, damn, that is bad. But you know what's worse? How I feel about it as a black person, how I feel about it as a white person, how I feel having to live in a world where a white person is throwing up blackified hand signals, and how that's a sign that we have Africanized the world. Yep. That's a real fucking tweet. And that should be further proof that I will never have faith in humanity in any capacity or in any aspect. And I will end this video now by saying what I said at some point throughout. Just shut up and wait for more information and more details and more of the story. That way you could reach a conclusion based upon facts and not just random think pieces you got off of Twitter. I hope you all have a pretty decent rest of your day. I hope the family, or the father at least, is able to weather the storm in some way in his own heart and his own mind. And I hope at the end of it, we get all the information and a resolution that makes a few people happy. Because let's be honest, based on how we're talking about this shit right now, when the resolution comes, a lot of motherfuckers aren't going to be happy. Bye-bye.